On the right, we have the 7.62 by 39, and on the left, we have the 300 Blackout. As you can see, they're the exact same height, but the 7.62 by 39 has a taller and wider case. I've heard a lot of people say that these cartridges are almost identical in performance, but I'm just not so convinced. So in today's video, I want to see which one penetrates steel better. To do this, I'll be shooting at mild steel plates ranging from 1/4 inch all the way up to 1 inch. Whichever one penetrates the deepest will be crowned the winner. First things first, let's figure out just how much energy each one of these cartridges are putting out, because look at what I finally got. This right here is a chronograph, and I know it's been a long time waiting, so now we should actually be able to get some real numbers. In terms of rifles, I will be comparing bananas to bananas today. Both of these rifles are equipped with 16-inch barrels, so it's as fair as I can make it. Now let's see what the actual numbers are we're getting with the 300 Blackout. I am super excited to use this chronograph for the first time. Well, it looks like this factory ammo had a terrible standard deviation, but the average was 2136, so that's what we're going to go ahead and use. Try not to be mad at me, but there was absolutely nowhere on that AK that I could find to mount that chronograph to, so we're just going to have to rely on the box numbers. And now, let me introduce you to the steel sled. Say hello to the steel sled. I made this to hold different thicknesses of steel at the exact same angle every time, and as long as they're touching both of these posts right here, they should be good to go. One thing that I added though is this nice backstop made out of railroad ties so that the steel can absorb the full impact of the bullet. I'm also going to be shooting it at a slight downward angle to minimize ricochets. I'm not going to lie, I had some pretty close calls in one of my previous videos. I don't always use protection, but when I do, it's almost always this shield. This shield is made out of 1/4 inch flats, and it should keep me protected from just about any ricochet out there. And to show you just how safe it is, I'm going to be shooting 10-22 LR bullets at it to simulate multiple ricochets. So there you go, there's 10 fresh shots added right there, and I think I'm pretty well covered unless it goes through this window right here. That definitely would not be a good day. You already know the drill. Let's get this testing started off with a 1/4 inch plate. Real quick, one thing I almost forgot to mention is that I sharpened these posts right here just in case a bullet were to impact. Now hold on just a second. Before you start thinking that I'm a bad shot or something, I just want to let you know that I'm covering my bases, especially when shooting that AK. They're not necessarily known for being the most accurate things in the world. Now how's about we try the one thing that we all know 300 Blackout is better than the 7.62 by 39 at? Subsonic ammo. Yep, that was quiet. It literally did not even leave a dent on the 1/4 inch plate. I guess that just goes to show you how ineffective subsonics are on hard targets. Now let's step it up to the real attraction. Guys, I thought I missed high, but that bullet literally got stopped by the 1/4 inch plate. That is freaking nuts. I better do it again just to make sure that wasn't a fluke. You're not going to believe this, but the same exact thing happened. It definitely wasn't a fluke. That's pretty pathetic if it can't even penetrate a 1/4 inch. I got one more trick for the 300 Blackout, but let's shoot the AK first. Well, the AK is definitely winning. But like I said, I got one more trick for that 300 Blackout, and that trick is a 147 grain FMJ. If this one can't penetrate, then I give up on the 300 Blackout. Now that's a better standard deviation. That 147 grain is going an average of 1901 feet a second. Even after hitting somewhat of a compromised area, the 300 Blackout still did not penetrate a 1/4 inch plate. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this cartridge. Check out this wad that landed right here. That must have been from the 300 Blackout. Even though the 300 Blackout kind of really sucks when it comes to steel penetration, that doesn't mean the AK does. So let's see how deep the AK will penetrate with an FMJ. I think I may need to start bringing a full spray paint bottle because I'm having issues seeing this plate in the shadow, especially with that red dot. I hit down here, so that's not going to cut it. Let's go back to the bench and try again. I'm 99% sure that one was better, but let's go ahead and check it out. Well, I got a direct hit right where I wanted to, but it looks kind of shallow. I am super disappointed in the performance of that 300 Blackout, to say the least. But let's go back to the bench and see how deep that AK penetrated into the 3/8 inch plate. Because it's time to grind. Guys, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know that it was actually worth bringing out that grinder for this one. That's probably the shortest grind time I've ever had to date. But anyways, I guess it's time to measure the depth of this shallow, and I'm gonna say it one more time, shallow penetration. I'm gonna be using this tool right here, and if you're not familiar with it, basically it's just used to keep the measuring as fair as possible. So without further ado, let's get on to the measuring. I am almost ashamed to tell you the numbers, but would you believe me if I said that it only penetrated 0.153 inches? That's just about the worst, if not the worst penetration I've seen on 3/8 inch steel to date. And keep in mind that I switched from a hollow point to an FMJ for the 3/8 inch test to give it the best chance of penetration possible, or so I thought. It really seems like that unless you're going all the way up to an armor-piercing round in the 7.62x39, it really kinda sucks on steel. But somehow the 7.62x39 is still light years ahead of the 300 Blackout. On paper they seem like really similar cartridges, but in the real world we saw some different results. First off, I started with what the 300 Blackout was meant to shoot. Subsonic ammo. For those of you who aren't aware of what subsonic ammunition is, basically it's any bullet that does not break the speed of sound when it exits the muzzle of a barrel. According to Google, this number is usually around 1125 feet a second, but it really depends on your elevation and temperature and other factors like that, so that's kind of just a roundabout number. Usually, subsonic 300 Blackout ammo like this is using around a 220 grain bullet going about 1050 feet a second, but basically this subsonic ammo did exactly what a 22 LR would do. Absolutely nothing. Up next was a 120 grain hollow point, which I was assuming was going to be very similar to the 7.62x39, but as you can see, it just merely dented the steel. Whereas the 7.62x39, even when it didn't penetrate, cut into the steel. See the difference there? It only dented the steel. The 147 grain FMJ, which I thought had a way better chance, did the exact same thing as the 120 grain hollow point, which I thought was very surprising. If I learned one thing in today's video, it's that I'm going to be sticking with subsonics in that 300 Blackout, since that seems to be the only thing it's really good at. Compared to the AK, the performance really was not there. Anyways, I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, don't let ballistics drive you bananas.